Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our very first CSE Live Chat of 2026. I'm quite thrilled to have with me today Kiran Pandey. She is someone many people wouldn't know, but she's one of the architect of CSE State of India's Environment Report in Figures and also down towards annual extreme weather events assessment, which is called Climate India. She's one of the architects of that. So, Kiran, thank you so much for joining for the very first episode of 2026. So you're here, and what I wanted to ask you is when people think about data, and that is something we are going to talk about today, and most people think of data as something which is very dry, which is very with basically cold numbers. You must be finding it extremely difficult, right, to on a day-to-day basis, making it interesting, making it part of the narrative, and that is something which is basically the backbone of CSE. Like data is what makes us. We produce so many reports, and it is all
Every report
it's
has
driven right by data. So, Kiran, for the benefit of everybody, can you let's start with a very simple idea or where it all started, or maybe an experience that you came across when you were dealing with data.
Okay. So my first experience, the fantastic experience that I had over here was while producing the State of India's environment in figures.
Would you
Okay,
like to
because
also
yes,
show the
this is
copy?
a report that I'm talking about. Okay, so as I'm talking about, this is the 10th edition of the report. The first report came out in
Congratulations.
2016.
Wow.
Okay, yeah. And the purpose behind this report was to connect data sets between different aspects of development, which includes your climate, water, energy, agriculture, economy, etc., and present a state of environment to the public, okay, using numbers. Okay. So, but while doing this, what we realized was, okay, I'll talk about my own experience. So, if you ask me, 20 years ago, okay, access to data was not that easy. Okay, we used to physically go to places to get the numbers. Okay, for example, we used to go to Parliament Library to get reports from there. But now, 20 years later, if you see the way technology has changed, the way data is collected, shared, okay, that has made our life a bit easier. Okay,
Quick.
quick, yeah. So, that's one part of the story. Okay, that's a good news, I'll say. Okay, at the same time, what is still of concern is that there are still large and critical data gaps. Okay, in terms of many aspects. But this doesn't mean that there's not enough numbers to tell a story. Okay, so as a communicator, you still have got enough numbers to talk about. Okay, and that's what this report taught us. So and every year, and so it's almost, I told you, this is the 10th edition of the report. So every year we come up with this report, and this report makes a annual statement on environment, which actually grabbed many media headlines, and it is also very impactful. You'll see many questions raised in the report have been presented in the parliament as well. Okay, that's the impact. So we have used numbers. Again, these numbers are numbers which are in the public domain. Okay, so those numbers are already there. But once you get the numbers, once you crunch them, once you visualize them, it makes a statement, and the statement makes an impact as well. Okay?
So, you have been like the official data cruncher of CSE, right? But what you do on a daily basis, most people's head will spin just looking at those data, right? So, so you said maybe say government or any institution for that matter, when they put out data, they have their own narrative that comes, what they want to put out. But as researchers, students, or even journalists for that matter, how does one make that data work for them? Like, how do they tell their story?
Yeah. Okay. So now the first point I'd like to stress over here is data is there. Okay. Good or bad, we'll not talk about that at all. Okay. But the real trick is, or the strategy is to use the data to tell your own story. Okay. That's what. So, and the story will be different from every person to person. Okay. That's the first thing. Okay. So what we learned, okay, well, how do we do this? In fact, let me talk about example of COVID. Okay. So everybody is aware of the COVID. They have been victims of this tragedy. When people are talking about burden of deaths, cases due to COVID, we actually change the narrative using the numbers. Okay, and the numbers were numbers which is already available in the public domain. Okay, so what we did was, so every day we used to do the same story on cases and the deaths. But suddenly, then we thought that there's something wrong that's happening that we're missing out. Okay, and the media reports were filled with reports on ICUs, lack of oxygen, okay, poor hospitals in mega cities, but nobody spoke about the rural part of the country.
Right.
Okay, and that's what we changed. Okay,
Okay.
so what we did was we actually used the numbers on COVID cases, deaths, and we added one more layer for these numbers. That the layer was data at the level of districts, rural and urban both.
Okay.
Okay, and that changed the entire narrative. Okay, and finally we made a statement that even as we are talking about the urban India, there's a crisis in rural India that's getting ignored.
It's not an urban problem
Yeah,
alone,
okay,
obviously. Right.
it's
Yeah.
getting ignored. Okay, we made a big statement, and that statement in the entire narrative. And if you see, even now, if you see, there are many reports which came after that, that yes, this was all a rural pandemic, as well, not just urban, but even rural India was affected. Okay,
Right.
that was missing the headlines. Okay,
Right. Okay.
so that's one example. Other example I can't miss out is the my experience with the extreme weather database. Okay,
Right. Yeah.
so we have created this database in 2022. It's almost 4 years. Okay,
Right.
but what worked in the database is a simple data point.
Maybe
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
tell our
yeah,
viewers also what the report is all
yeah.
about, just to for
Okay,
the
this
benefit of
extreme weather
everyone.
report.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we do is we have one database on extreme weather events, and we use the database to come up with annual report on extreme weather events. Okay, and what's interesting part of this report is the data point that we use, okay, is the number of days with extreme weather events. Okay, that's the data point that has made the difference.
All
Okay,
right.
and that also has helped us say that these events which have been talked about by science, by scientists, okay, they're actually intensifying in terms of frequency, in terms of damage, and that's clearly showing through these numbers. Okay, it's
Right.
because the data point that we have selected. Okay,
Right.
so now if you go to this database, you can actually write a story at country level, you can write a story at state level, you can write a story on losses and damages that have occurred across the country, and even season and even regions across the country.
I kind of remember you had
Yeah.
some data on it, like the 99% of the days there was
Yeah.
an extreme
Oh,
weather
yes.
event, right?
So if you ask me in the beginning, 2022, I think around it, maybe the numbers, it was over 80% of days in a year the country had seen extreme weather events. But now in 2025, it is almost 99%.
Which in itself
Yeah,
is
that
scary,
clearly
but then,
shows
yeah.
that events are actually intensifying across different regions, across seasons as well. Okay, initially the perception was, okay, monsoon is a season of extreme weather events. That's not true. It's throughout the year events are happening. Okay, and nobody is spared. Every state of the country is getting affected, and the geography is also widening over the years. Okay, and if you see it season by season, seasons are changing. Okay, so winter will be seeing extreme rains, and the pre-monsoon will see more rains, whereas monsoon will be dry.
Right.
Interesting events. So no season has been spared through these events. Okay, for example, this year, and I know we have severe cold in Delhi when
Right.
we are
Yes.
sitting over here. Okay, but this time not many of us know that the cold waves arrived earlier this year in the month of
Yeah.
November itself.
Oh, wow.
Okay, and in terms of geography, 16 states had recorded cold waves in the country. Okay, and that's again unusual.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Okay.
I mean, basically, the how erratic it is
Yeah.
or how unnatural
Yeah.
it is.
It's
I
like
mean,
it's again because of the data point that we have selected,
Right.
And again, one more thing is, so maybe I'll just assume we have the best tools, but it was the basic how do you ideate your database or your story that worked.
Right.
People miss out on that part. People think that they have the best tool in their hand, but if you miss out on that ideating a story part of it, you will not get the right messaging out. Okay, so
Right.
that also is very important. So as we talk about tools, we should not forget the conventional system of how do we conceptualize a story or any database products.
All right. I mean, before we come to the tools, and I mean, before I conclude, and I mean, which I want you to do, but how do you do it? I mean, when you look at a data, like, what is your process?
Okay, so again, I'll say people get very scared. People think they have a statistician to be able to do this. It's not true. Okay,
Right.
yes, you need to do data modeling. You need to be a good statistician. But all of us are communicators, so we should be aware of few basic skills. And as of now in the market, you need soft skills. Okay,
Right.
this is where this thing comes up. Okay.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
while you say that, I would also like you to tell us some of the tools, I mean, as a homework,
Yeah.
which people can go
Yes.
back and check
Okay.
out, and I mean, which they can explore on their own.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So there are 4 basic steps. One is you should know where to go for right numbers, right data. That's very important. For that, we create create a diary of data sources. Everybody should have it, at their own tips. As a reporter, you should especially have it. Okay. Besides that, So after you have the data, you should know how to clean the data, how to transform the data in a readable format. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Many government reports have data in PDF format. You should know how to convert that into an Excel file or a CSV file. Secondly, so that's your cleaning part of the data. And then you should know how to process it. And then finally, you should be able to visualize it, because visuals make that impact that you're looking for.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
And yes, and for this, you have many tools in the market.
Okay.
And we believe in these soft skills, because we also use this very often in our reports. If you see this report I'm talking about, we have used really very common tools to come up with this visual report.
Right.
And we do trainings on these tools. Okay? And in the trainings we cover very common tools known as one of them is data wrapper. Data wrapper is very commonly used tools, and I would especially recommend the journalists to start using it. Okay, it's very easy to use. And the best part is you can use this tool and also write stories in your own language. What else do you want? Okay. Yeah.
Right.
So, and
it's really
this is the most simplest tool. There are many tools, but this is the most simplest tool that anybody can start use it. And also it's on a website. You don't even have to install it. It's just go to website and start processing the data. All right. The second tool is it's bit advanced. It's Microsoft Power BI. Okay? Right. That's an advanced one. But if you are really curious, very ambitious, okay, this also gives you interesting ways to analyze, okay, and also create interactive dashboards, databases, where you can actually link different data sets and come up with. So our database or XC weather events has been made using this software.
Power BI.
Power BI. Okay. And if you see, not just us, Government of India uses Power BI. You have international organizations using Power BI. So it's not just one of the tools. It's a very commonly used tool as of now. Okay. And as we talk about these tools, we should not miss out on the spatial data. Okay. Where and so we also need smart tools like QGIS, which is used to process special data, where you have data linked with the location. Okay. For example, if you have said NASA data on the forest fire, if you want to process that data set, you will need tools like QGIS, which is again an open source tool. Okay. So the next level training that we do is on this particular tool. Even as I'm sitting over here, today we have a live session on that training happening as of now. Okay. So and this you can use this tool to process data and also create fantastic maps to tell your story. Because if I just talk about, say, flood damage in the country, it doesn't tell you anything. It's a big number. Right. But if I map the same data at district level, that tells, okay, where is the most risk-prone state in the country or the district in the country? Where should I really invest more in terms of, say, management? Okay? Right. So those things come out. We create a map using these tools. Right. Yeah. So and as we talk about these tools, there's one more word that is very popular nowadays is AI.
The buzzword of the year.
Yeah. Okay. So AI, and so you can't escape AI. It's because people. Yeah. Again, there are people who are in favor of AI. There are still controversies happening. Okay. But if you ask me personally, I think AI. You cannot ignore AI. You should learn to adapt to this new tool. Right. But I also feel very strongly, okay, that yes, AI helps us in the scale of work and even the speed of work. But at the same time, technology cannot replace humans.
Definitely.
Yes. For example, if I talk about, say, if I want to use AI for data analysis, okay, I have to decide what indicators I want to choose. Right. The indicators will depend on my perspective, my vision, okay, my experience. Right. So AI can't buy your experience, it can't give you that. Okay. So in the age of technology, I think we still have a place. Okay. But we can't ignore that tool. Okay. And yes, and so we can use it to again improve the pace of our work, right, to do new things. Okay. For example, like there's an interesting tool known as Notebook LM, right, okay, on Google. Okay. You can use that tool to fasten your research. Okay. How do you mean it? As a journalist, for example, I got a new research paper. It's a very scientific paper that Nature has published. I can't understand because their language is very difficult to understand. So I can now import that document into Notebook LM and get important insights from the document. Okay. As a journalist, I can really simplify the paper. I can write a story around that with different angles to it. Not just that. The tool also gives me the power to create different kinds of messages for social media. Okay. Okay. Yes. Okay. So that one tool can give you many. You can also create, say, if you want to create as a policy person, you can create a policy brief. Okay. Right. As a researcher, you can create your own. I'll say a summary of a report. Okay.
I think
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
a very useful tool,
Yeah.
because I'm
Yeah.
sure most people hear about AI,
Yeah.
and the most they explore
Yeah.
is Gemini or ChatGPT.
Yeah. Okay.
Or if you want to go one step
Yeah.
ahead, maybe Copilot.
So you can create a presentation using this in different languages.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
That's the power of Notebook LM. Okay. And it's yet to be explored.
Right.
Okay. And besides this, you also, if you're still more ambitious, okay, you can also try your hands with Google AI Studio, which just gives you more tools to practice.
Okay.
Okay, for example, as a communicator, like as we're talking, okay, we can actually create our own app. Okay.
All right.
Okay. To do many things. For example, I can create my own app to create infographics.
Okay.
Okay. I can replicate an infographic. I can copy and clone an infographic using
Oh my
this.
God.
Okay. So okay, I can also
Should I be scared?
yeah. No, but again, I'm telling you. Okay. Again, your perspective and your experience that nobody can.
Yes,
Okay,
definitely.
Okay. So, and when you are talking about using data for a story, so again, in this age of AI and technology and all those things, what will still remain is the way you ideate a story, the way you conceptualize a story. Okay. So, there's the same data set everywhere, but we will be able to understand better in a different way, through our own experience and through our own perspective that they can't
Take away from
dictate.
us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I think so we should be cautious and we should learn this again, because you see in the job market as well. This is one of the most important. So data analysis and the ability to use AI for your work is the most important soft skill that's
Right.
demanded. Okay.
I think
Yeah.
on that note,
Yeah.
we can actually conclude, because a lot of people are scared today that their jobs might go off.
Yeah.
I mean, they might lose their jobs because of, I mean, the usage of AI going, I mean, that's increasing,
Yeah.
right, on a daily basis. So yeah, I think on that note, that ideation, that is something that is us
Yeah.
and original,
Yes.
and
That's something else. Yes.
and it's original.
Yeah. It's original.
So that is something,
Yeah.
and adapting is
It's
important.
very, very important. You can't escape from this. Whether you love it or you hate it, you have to be there. And again, people of all ages have to be, you should learn to adapt it, So,
Right.
okay. And I think,
Right. Thank you so much, Kiran. I think we can stop. And on
Yeah.
that note, once again, I mean, if you want to check out the report, it's available on cseindia.org.
Yes.
And even down to earth, you can check out for the extreme weather assessment. There is the dashboard which she's talking
Yes.
about, which is on Power BI. Yeah.
Trainings, you can see the website. We have many trainings besides this training. So you can also see our website regularly for all the new online trainings that we are going to announce.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll be back soon with another episode of CSE's Live Chat. Until then, bye-bye.